and the goddess Gaia was the Greek goddess of earth, Mother Nature. And Gaia gives us words like guy and gay, as in a gay couple. And why do you think men and boys play sports and games much more than women do? Because the very word game means gay men. Because the ancient games were always held in honor of the fertility of Gaia, the primeval goddess who gave a virgin birth to her son Uranus, which actually gave birth to the Titans, and her first son was Saturn, or Cronus. And the Romans and the Greeks were known for their homosexuality and their gayness. And remember, Gaia had sex with her child Uranus, which is pedophilia. And that's why the Romans and the Greeks always used children in their festivals of fertility. Feasting drunk pedophiles. And that's why they're still abusing children to this very day. And that's why mainly men and boys partake in these gay games. And now you know the true meaning of a joystick. And the goddess Gaia is known as the goddess Gaia Spore, the spore of life, which gives us our word sport. The Gaia Spore, the unified earth organism, which is actually the orgasm. A serpent or a snake is considered a fertility symbol. And that's why Sir Mix-a-Lot likes big butts, because he's got a big anaconda. And the serpent is also a symbol of death and rebirth. Thus we have the story of Adam and Eve and the snake and the pole. And that's why they use the serpent sex magic on our money, as well as our computers. Ones and zeros, males and females, penises and vaginas. The phallic fertility of the serpent and the pole. And that's why the letter S looks and sounds like a snake, which comes from the ancient Greek and Phoenician Shin or Sin, the fertility moon god. And the word sex starts with an S of the fertility snake and ends with the X of death. And a port or a harbor is considered female, where female ships can dock to the male poles. Sport, the fertility of the snake and the port. And now you know why it's called sportsmanship. And if you play dirty, it's called a foul. And that's why you get penalized. And if you get hurt or injured, you will need help from the medic, the medical. And that's the reason the medical symbol is the symbol of the sexagram and the snake and the pole. And you play a sport on a court, exactly like when you play on this court. And for the exact same reason you play on this court. Because when you date, you better play your cards right. You better be on your best game. And that's why you're a player. The dating game. And that's exactly why it's called courtship. And this is the reason that the word romance comes from the Romans, who were rowmen, as in rowing a boat on the sea. The sea men rowing their way through the vast ocean, exactly like real sea men, which makes the birth of life. And that's why seamen are eventually searching for a dock. And once the sea men are docked, they will give life or new birth. And that's why a boat sits in its berth. And if you dock her boat, you're gonna need a real doctor, because you're gonna give birth. And there is always two sides or two teams. And the two sides or the two teams will almost always have the Illuminati colors of red and blue, which is the red hot fire of the male and the cool water of the woman. So when you date and you're making moves, there's always an offense and a defense, just like when you're playing sports. And when you go to court, you have an offense and a defense. And why do you think he has his hand on his ball? For the exact same reason you put your hand on the Bible. Because the very word testify comes from the testes, the testicles. And this is why they test you. Because when you testify, your balls are on the line. And that's why you have one hand up and one hand down on your testicles, or the Bible, which means sex, the Bi of Bel. So this court has a judge exactly like a sports court who has a judge or a referee. And when you court, the two sides are definitely going to battle, because you're going to need and wish you had a judge or counseling. This is why you need counsel when you go to court. And this court has counsel for athletes, because every player is in it to win, and it's all about which side is correct and who will be the winner. So we have the legal law as well as the judicial law, which is the Judaic law from the tribe of Judah, the Lion of Judah, the Son, which was started by the patriarch King David, which actually means divide, the two teams, or the sex of the male and the female coming together, the Holy Union. And don't forget, the oldest profession in the world is prostitution, the exchange of money. And we get our word money from the goddess Monea. And this is why when you court, it will cost you money, exactly like when you go to court. And this is why players on this court make lots of money, because these sports icons are prostituted and don't even know it. And they sacrifice their soul to the soul of the Son. So when you go to court and give testimony, you're giving the testimony. And when you're in a relationship, there's plenty of testifying your case in an argument. And you'll also find a lot of screaming and arguing on this court as well as this one. And you're always guilty until proven innocent. And if the foul play you make is bad enough, you just might get benched. And when you go to court because you're in trouble, you'll find a bench. And if you're not careful, you just might get rejected. So if you act like a jack-off, you just might get ejected, which comes from ejaculated, and that's why the eject symbol is the symbol of the phallic penis. And you think they put a backboard there because it's useful or it looks good? Wrong. It's there for the exact same reason that you have a backboard on your bed, which is the exact same backboard you'll find in the court. And you'll find the same backboard in a church. And this is why the Freemasons have the backboard as well. And beneath the backboard is the hole you score in, because that's the exact same spot where you score below this backboard. And that's why in a church, below their backboard is the altar, the Holy of Holies. And now you know why you use the backboard for a layup. And that's why you slam the rim. And that's why you slam it in there, because you're reaming it out. And that's why you slam the shit out of this backboard, because at home, you slam the shit out of this backboard.